Hi, welcome to the Stitch TV show. I'm Lynn.
And I'm Pam. We're happy you're joining us today. The Stitch is an online quilting talk show, the perfect soundtrack for your sewing room. Join us for twice monthly talk shows, virtual stitch-ins, celebrity interviews, book clubs, and podcasts. You can learn more at thestitchtvshow.com.
Our show today is brought to you by QT Fabrics, and we still have these. When do we have to send these back?
I think
soon.
Well, it's episode 324. It's the last episode of the third season.
That's crazy. I can't believe we've been doing this 3 years.
I know.
It's been fun.
Our next show is being filmed live.
What?
Actually, our next two shows are being filmed live.
Yes,
Episodes
they are.
401 and 402 will be filmed live.
So we picked ourselves up for the fourth season.
We did. Go us. High fives.
We decided we'll do it again.
Hot diggity.
Yay.
Yeah. So we'll have details of the live filming date in the show notes for this episode. So you can see below for that or on our website.
Right.
But yeah, so in answer to your question, I think after this episode,
we'll have to send them
we
back.
got to double check with QT.
Maybe. I think they should just give them. They're super cute. I can put stuff in them.
But again, I can make a giant one.
Oh,
you could
right,
probably
for
fit
the
one
cats.
of the Salukis in there too.
Ooh, they'll just argue over it, so we'll have to have two. I don't know why. We can buy the exact same beds, same colors, the exact same bed, and they will be like, this one's better. So this is the one they want to lay in. Mm-hmm. And the other one gets jealous because that one, it's like, really?
Dogs are weird.
It's the exact same bed.
But hey, thanks QT.
So yeah, we love you, QT. So today we're going to be talking about surface design and dealing with different size blocks. And we're joined by my quilt, Squeeze Me. So, and
Squeeze Me?
Squeeze Me?
Squeeze Me?
So, I did this one. I had a layer cake of these
bright citrusy
looking prints. And I thought they looked kind of orange or citrus. And so I decided to make these wedges, which look like, lemon wedges and lime and orange wedges. And
blue fruit
and
wedges.
I was thinking squeezing oranges. So it was Squeeze Me. Squeeze. So, yeah. And then I got this was a compilation of things. And then I got a template, learned how to do curve piecing. And then I thought those yo-yo makers were fun. So I did a bunch of those. And
it's like a kitchen sink kind of quilt.
It's really, yeah, it is. Kind of. And I wondered how many blocks I could get out of the layer cake. And it turns out a king size. King size is what you can get out of there. Although it may have been 2 layer cakes.
I think it was 2.
It was 2.
Yeah.
So a king size quilt. And then I decided I should put borders and
more borders.
Maybe
and even more borders.
Yeah, another border. And good thing we're talking about different size blocks because this has 3 different size blocks in it. So
we were talking about accidentally different size blocks.
No, these are on purpose.
Oh yeah, these were
purposeful.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Oopsies. Kind of blocks. So what you been doing?
I had a great lecture. I went to the Athens Guild, and that is not the name of the guild. No. It's Cotton Patch Quilt Guild.
In Athens, Georgia.
Not Georgia.
Not Greece, sadly.
No, not Greece. That would have been a long flight for a 2-hour presentation. So it was great. I met some really neat ladies, and here's what they had. The most difficult part of speaking in front of a guild is the first 15 minutes of walking in the room and figuring out how you're going to speak in that room because you're dealing with a projector and screen and stuff. They already had a projector and a screen set up, and it was kind of in this like a professional theater type room where they had the projector in another room upstairs kind of projecting on this huge screen. And but the seats were really close, so half the time I was like this, because you were in front of the screen, but the screen was super big, so it was kind of fun. I was like, I feel like I told them this too. I'm like, I feel like I'm in the first row of the movie theater, like you're looking at it. So, but it was they were great. It was fun. They've already booked me again later in the year. Going back.
Well, technically, Lynn said, we got invited back. Oh, wait, I got invited back. I'm like, yeah, not me.
Well,
Well, because it's specifically about appraisals. So.
yeah, I'm going back to talk about appraisals there. So Pam didn't do that lecture.
I
with
technically
me. But
was
she
invited
turned me,
for this one.
She turned me down because she had things she had to do.
I had a day job, out of town trip.
Right.
Sadsies.
So Mike's going with, hey, here's the deal. Mike is going with me to the lecture on Monday night. I've got another lecture Monday night in Dallas, Georgia. So I've been to Athens last week, and I'm going to Dallas this week.
Going through the big D.
Yeah, there you go.
And we do mean Dallas.
And yes, Georgia, Dallas, Georgia. And Mike's going with me, and I'm very excited because then I don't have to sell all the patterns and try to talk to people. So it'll be like more even.
Have you updated the form yet?
Not yet.
We got a form.
Oh, no, I updated the form. I haven't updated the spreadsheet of how much we sold at the last show.
Yes.
But I will do that before the next one.
Cool.
Monday night. I got to do that this afternoon. Hurry. Let's go before I forget.
Somebody add that to the spreadsheet quick.
Quick.
Okay, so surface design.
Oh,
What
we're
is
doing
surface design? We are doing surface design.
I was on the other topic.
That's too bad. Teleprompter wins.
It does. Surface design. Putting stuff on the surface.
Huzzah.
There we go.
Next
Thanks for
topic. Yeah, so it just means affecting change on the surface of the
Right.
fabric, which some of it may or may not seep in, but
Right.
it's taking existing fabric, adding stuff to it.
Right.
Drawing, painting.
Exactly.
Is stitching, stitching considered surface design?
I would say yeah. Yeah, embroidery stitches. You know,
Okay,
definitely. I didn't bring examples of that
cool.
because you didn't bring examples of anything, but I actually brought
No,
some.
because this was a viewer-suggested topic, and I said, I got nothing, so I got no notes. I'm going to just...
So
Drink my
I think one of the big things with surface design is people think, well, you should paint. Like paint is a surface design that a lot of people have questions about with fabric. It's really easy to do. You get acrylic paints and then you get a fabric medium and mix with different acrylic paints. So there's a lot of different ones, acrylic paints. They can come in transparent or opaque colors. Some already have the fabric medium in them. This one's a transparent. This is one brand. There are other brands, and there's all different kinds of metallic type of things. It's another brand. It's got some fabric medium in it. But you can also add fabric medium to paints that would allow it to stick to fabrics.
And keep the fabric soft.
And keep the fabric soft. Yeah, that's... And again, they come into... Oh, this one's transparent too. That one's transparent too. They come in the range of colors, metallics, transparent. But what you can do is you can then take, different kind of stamps, and you can, use the stamps. Now, this isn't the stamp that I used for this because I did this sample in a class, but this stamp can be used to create different techniques of, stamping fabric and then using that fabric that gives you a different surface. Another example of this would be we had a big screen print. This was a screen print of an Eiffel Tower where we used the paint to go through a screen print kind of thing. There's a whole different, with screen printing's a whole nother bag that you can.
Now, would you add surface design on a block and then stitch into a quilt, or would you do it after a top is assembled, or does it matter?
Well, a lot of time, if you're painting, I would do it before you put it in there. Although there are some techniques where they'll take the quilt done and like add paint to it after it's already stitched. What do you want to do? It then is, what look are you going for? Is that kind of thing. There's a lot of different things that you can use to add surface design, not just paint. You can do, these are Fabrico markers. You and I both use these for like covering up stitches you didn't want people to see.
Oh, I haven't used that particular brand.
Well, this is good brand for that. These are Fabrico markers. right? So, and they're acid free and they have a dual end. So it's a fine tip and a wide tip. So
Yeah.
it gives you different
Acid
things.
free is important. That's what keeps it from eating fabric and destroying fibers.
Although there are people that use techniques on fabric for surface design they will
Where that's the
take,
intent.
yeah, they will take rusted objects and then leave the rusted objects on the fabric so that you get the rust stains, and they do this on purpose.
What about the accidental coffee cup ring?
There you
which I have
go.
seen executed successfully by a friend of ours.
Yes, and it was great.
Yes.
That was perfect for that. One of my other very favorite surface design and I use these all the time. These are Derwent Intinks pencils. And I'll show you
They're watercolor pencils.
They're watercolor pencils, but they're made with ink pigment. And what's cool about this is that when you can use them just as a pencil and they add the color to the fabric. But then what's really neat is you can take aloe vera gel, and you want to use the clear aloe vera gel. And then you can very easily take that aloe vera gel with a paintbrush and paint over the ink tints, and it will intensify the color.
It deepens it instead of washing it out like the water would.
I have a great example of that, and I couldn't find it. The other paint that's really popular with people are these Shiva paint sticks.
And they're an oil-based paint.
And they're an oil-based paint. So they do take a lot longer to, there's the Shiva. They do take a lot longer for it to dry. So this one is a drying time is a lot different than your other ones. Kind of thing. But those are some of my favorite like paint type products for surface design.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a collection of them, and I do lots of different things. But I do want to, this is my very, very, very favorite pen. I go through a ton of these, but this is called the Pentel Gel Roller for Fabric. It is the best black line you will get on fabric, period. I've never, the other little markers are good. This is the best black line you will get. So, and a sample of that with other stuff is, like I just decided to take this, just an orange piece of fabric that I drew on, Zentangled on, and then thought that it would be fun to do some beading with it. So this is just drawing with the black marker, essentially, and then I just highlighted it with different types of beading. This is caged. I caged a
button?
No, it's a glass, flat glass
knick-knack
thing that there's a word for, but apparently I don't know it right now.
A bleep blur.
So, but it was caging, and this is beading that caged that in. So I drew behind it, and it's clear glass, and then caged in the beading, and I think you can see that. Hopefully you can see that. So, and then that's surface design. So and I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I did this and put it on a journal and gave it away in some kind of auction. And then I thought, it's not very good for a journal because this kind of beading makes it rocky to write on.
Well, and it can get a little extra wear and tear, and depending.
Right.
Yeah. You
have to be nice to your journal.
You do.
Kind of thing. So beading, drawing, painting, those were, when you said surface design, that's what I thought of. Adding buttons. I know my postcards, I have tons of postcards, but this postcard, adding buttons, couching thread, that would I consider surface design too. So yeah, embroidery, that kind of stuff.
Rick-rack, yo-yos.
Rick-rack, yo-yos, buttons. where was I the other day? I was at a big box store the other day, and I was walking, because I don't go in with a time frame like you do, apparently.
I just got a lot of stuff to get done.
I was just just enjoying the store, and I walked into their button section, and they have whole new kinds of buttons now. I was very excited. They have ombre kind of buttons where you can buy a pack of them and they've got the dark to the light. I was like, oh, this is good. I didn't buy any, but now I know they exist.
I have inherited 2 generations of button boxes, so I'm pretty good on buttons.
No, but these are all different color. To me, it's all colors and stuff like that.
I got to figure out a project to do with gold colored buttons.
Oh, we can do that.
I got a ton.
We can do that.
And I'm never going to use them on clothes, to be honest.
They'll
I don't make a lot of clothes, much less clothes with buttons. So I'm like, I need some kind of surfacey thing with buttons.
We could do that. Let's think.
So yeah, if you have an idea for what to do with my gold button
with
collection,
gold buttons, let us know.
I was thinking I could do like a Christmas tree shape.
That would be good.
Like a ton of little garlandy things.
That would be good. That would look great. All right. So what do you have with surface design? I got nothing.
Because I don't.
I have all the surface design.
Yeah, well, you do more of it than me.
I do.
Because it is more classically art quilt focused, which is a lot more of what you do versus what I do.
I play. I belong to a art guild in the area of fiber art guild. And every month we get together and share ideas or go through different techniques of how to change the fiber and the surface of the art. From
Mod Podge?
We haven't done that yet. I've got to teach a class, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to teach. So I've got to come up with some way. Because what we do is it's a small group, and we're all artists. And so we divide it up, and everybody kind of takes a month. And we say, okay, you go learn a technique, and then you come back and share it with everybody else.
I have done some Mod Podging. And that's changing the surface of furniture. Hard surface. You can put fabric over it. So you can make little, like with all of my scrappy scraps that I have cut up, my 2-inch squares.
Yeah.
You can make a little patchwork on a piece of furniture.
That would be cool. Like, I think I need to do this now. So I've got to...
We were talking about Mod Podge on the virtual stitch-in, I think. Or somewhere.
Yes, we did.
In life.
Something.
Anyway, it all blurs together.
So I love... But any one of those techniques, honestly, you can get trapped in. Not trapped, but like you just get sucked in and it's like, oh, I could do this. And it just kind of spirals into... So I have a lot of samples. Like all those samples I showed you was from that group. Where one day we did screen printing with fabric. And one day we did the beading. And one day we did centangles with the fabric pen. And one time we did... I've got lots of little samples of stuff that I've never actually finished. But it was because we were learning the technique. But I'm okay with that. I'm okay to have things
it makes me twitchy.
that I don't actually finish. So you see a lot of samples that I put out there. I'm like, I've done that technique, but I haven't done anything else with it. I don't know where to put the Eiffel Tower. Like, I don't know
Paris?
where. I know.
Texas?
Vegas. They have one.
They do.
At the New York casino. No, at the Paris casino. Oh,
New York has the Statue of Liberty.
That's it. Sorry.
And a roller coaster.
I feel like I knew that.
It's across from Excalibur.
You're right.
The Camelot Castle.
It's been years since I've been to Vegas.
Oh, girl.
I know you go all the time.
I think I've just
now
been
she
one time
doesn't
this
go to
year.
gamble. She does go for work.
Yeah. And my husband's always like, you should take a quarter so you could gamble. Like, no. I will take pictures of all the funny slot machines.
There you go.
Like the Kitty Bling one. That's a good one.
Do
like
they let you take pictures of them?
It's a casino. People are doing selfies all up in there.
Oh, I guess that's true.
Yeah.
I don't want to get in trouble. People taking pictures. It's Vegas. I've seen lots of movies. They could kill you. There's like
You're watching the wrong kind of movies. I don't know where you are. What's happening?
Have you ever seen the ones? Oh, come on. You didn't watch all the Oceans 11, 13, 12. They take you behind. They beat up the guy. They all beat up a guy.
I watched
That's how these movies roll.
Seasons of CSI.
They all beat up a guy.
Yeah. There was a guy.
There's a guy.
He was in the alley.
He gets beat up. That's how it happens.
It has nothing to do with surface design. Although blood splatter would make an interesting design. So on that note, we're going to take a closer look at Squeeze Me. Lynn's going to calm down. We'll be right back.
5.
4, 3.
Hi, we're back. And we're doing...
We're going to start over.
No, we're not. No, we're not. We're not starting over again because it's a few times I don't look stupid. So we are rolling on this because I look stupid lots of times.
Production is on the floor.
Doesn't matter. We are doing different size blocks.
It's a great
now.
way to end season 3. It's our last segment of the season.
That's why this, they really
We're
are
speaking
on the
about
floor.
coping.
No, we're speaking about different size blocks.
We
you
are.
apparently need to cope with it. It didn't bother me as much as it
this
does
again,
you.
viewer suggestion. All of our topics were like suggestions from the last contest we ran.
Oh, cool. See, I don't know that because I don't keep up with that. I don't see the thing. This is why Pam and I work together.
It's on a spreadsheet for the record.
I don't look at all the spreadsheets. I only look at the ones she tells me I have to look at, and those are the ones I look at. And I update them.
So this can be a common problem when you're doing things like swaps and there's personal quarter inches.
That's true. I need a 12.5-inch block. And
That's
it's
subjective.
And it's like 11 to 13.
Pretty much. You get a range. And so there are a couple ways to deal with it. And there's a very excellent book that addresses this entire topic. Setting Solutions by Sharon Craig.
And I don't have this book either. This is out of Pam's.
I think it may be out of print. We don't need to flip through it so much. We just want everyone to see what the cover looks like. You can still find used versions of it out on various, Amazon, eBay, etc. But if you participate in a lot of swaps, it may be worth the investment to try and find a copy. And there's a couple major techniques that she encourages, which are delightful, because I got this book, not that I was doing a ton of swaps, but just I had heard so many good things about it. And then after reading it and going through it, I was like, oh, now I totally want to do more so I can do all these cool things with all my wacky different size blocks.
So what are all these cool things, though?
Well, she talks a lot about, first step, do you need to remake the block? Do you just need to take it apart to its base elements and reassemble it with, a little less scant or a little more scant, just depending on whether the block was bigger or smaller than it needed to be?
So not do that.
I know. That's never usually my first choice.
That would be my last choice. Okay.
And a lot of it, too, when you think you're getting a 12.5-inch block and you get a 12.25, sometimes it could be the result of pressing.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you press your seams open, sometimes that can just expand it enough. And if it's a block with a lot of seams in it, the more seams, the more likely you have for it to not be the right size. Because there's more places for error.
Pressing, cutting, and sewing will change the size of the block every time. Mm-hmm. Those all have to be right.
Yeah. And sometimes even you can spritz a block and kind of stretch it.
Yes,
get it out there.
You can.
So remaking it is one. Another way, if it's wildly off, usually you don't have one that's like 10.5 inches when it should be 12, but you could add little coping strips, which are just strips of fabric that you use to frame up the block.
I've done.
But the bigger trick is like you add coping strips to all the blocks. And let's say you are aiming for a 12-inch finished block.
That's true.
You add coping strips. You can trim them all to like 14.5, so they finish at 14.
But that's if
and then some
it's going to look okay with that.
Right. Sometimes.
Okay.
You can go crazy. You can add coping triangles. So now you're putting the blocks on points. And then it's a lot less obvious that like, oh, this one has an inch margin if it's just a straight up frame versus coping triangles where you're essentially doing a setting triangle. So for a 12-inch block, you'd cut 18.25, I think.
Now, do you do just by the block or like, so for example, if I made the whole strip or the whole row and it wasn't as long as it needed to be, you could add. But there are some blocks that need to be butted up against each other because of the look. Like these two blocks here had to have them next to each other so that you had that, wedge look. Yeah.
Well, you can always add it like in between here.
Right, to separate them.
Yeah, so you can add spacers where needed. And now it's unlikely you need to add spacer on one row but not the next. It would just be a different size spacer on each row, so then they look maybe a little offset.
Right, yeah, you could do that.
They could dance.
Right. Oh, that's a good term. I like that. Boots and pants and boots and pants.
Yeah.
There you go.
So even instead of like a straight on 45 degree on point setting, you can have them just be kind of jaunty, where they're like a 15 degree angle can be kind of just jaunty enough.
Right.
And sometimes you could just straight up trim them. Just like, I don't care about my points. I ain't got no point for this quilt.
This is now wonky.
Yes.
We'll cut those off.
Yeah.
I guess I really looked at this in a completely different way than you did. Not
Which is
surprised.
standard.
Yeah, not surprised.
We are on brand.
Because it said dealing with different size blocks. And my first thought was easy math. If you're making different size blocks that need to go into a quilt.
369.
Yeah, 369,
248.
8412, 842, even numbers, odd numbers. That's where my brain went. And that's why I said, let's hang up this quilt, because it's got the 8-inch blocks, the 4-inch blocks, and the 2-inch blocks in it. So I was like, that's easy math. If you're trying to combine, an off-grid look or a look that diamonds are forever one of our patterns, it was easy math. So it allowed you to make different sized diamonds and put them together where they would work together. But it was because of the math that got you there to the biggest size, which I think was an 8426.
Yes.
In it. So that was my thought process. Break it up into easy, don't do 1 3/4, and that would drive me nuts.
3.5.
See, that would drive me nuts.
7.
No. And we're done.
14.
She's there. No, if you're looking to do something, I was thinking, you're trying to make an off-grid, or you're trying to make a design that's easy for it to all work together. Try to do easy math and break up the blocks that way too, so that if you're doing a finished 9-inch block and you're going to have a 9 patch, well, that makes, your squares finished 3 inches really easy to work with, kind of thing. So if you want, it to be a 9 patch block and then the next block next to it, a churn dash block, still break that up into your half square triangles will finish at 3, so that you have. So that was my thought process, which had nothing to do with what she was doing. So I didn't.
She's cute.
I know. I am. I'm cute. And
so have you done a lot of swaps of blocks?
No.
Conscious choice, or just never had the opportunity?
Had opportunities plenty of times. I don't like I don't like swaps like you do.
I don't know that I necessarily like them either.
But you do a lot more than I have.
The ones that I do are because I'm invested in the community. Not necessarily because I just super duper love getting blocks from other people.
I apparently don't care about the community.
Can I get a quote on that, please? A pull quote? We'll put that in our press packet for season 4.
That's not true.
I don't care about community.
That's not true.
You just said it. Roll the tape back.
I know, but it's not true. I said I apparently don't. If this were determining whether I cared about community, you would think I didn't. But I do. I just don't like the pressure of having to swap stuff. Like, what if they hate what I did, or I don't know.
Well, so I'm currently in a B with a group of quilting podcast listeners. So we've got a group on Facebook, and we've kind of organized a round robin B. Not really a round robin so much, but
I don't
more
like
of a
doing
swap.
those.
So last year I didn't participate because I knew we had a lot going on. And this year, because I kind of changed what I was participating in locally, I had an opportunity to jump in this year. And so it's been really interesting to see there's like an international B and a domestic B, and I'm in the domestic B. Although I did accidentally make the international block this month, and I'm like, extra block. It was cactus, Seguro, I think, which was interesting. I had a lot of scraps for it. It worked out fine.
Okay.
But I was a queen bee for June, which means you get to say, like, hey, everybody, could you please make me blocks like this? So I said, I want 9-inch finished star blocks that are made with a green star and a cream or neutral background, like cream or white background. And I don't care what star it was. It could be Sawtooth. It could be Friendship Star. It could be like
Lemoyne Star, whatever
yeah,
star.
whatever. Go crazy, just so it finishes at 9 inches. And so I've gotten, I think I've gotten 3 so far.
How many will you get?
I think I get 6 through this round. 6, we had 7 participants. So what we all decided was we were going to then repeat everybody so they would still get extra blocks because we didn't have 12 participants sign up. So I'll be Queen Bee again in a couple months and get more blocks.
Oh, and so every time whoever's queen gets to say,
make me this.
I want churn dash blocks with orange.
In fact, one of them was a disappearing churn dash or disappearing pinwheel that looks like a churn dash.
Oh, okay.
You know, and make it in blue and gray, and it didn't matter if gray was the field fabric and blue was the other, or if that was reversed. Yeah. So.
Here's why I don't participate in very many swaps. Is one, I've gotten burned a lot. Like, I've been in swaps, and what I got back was not what I put into it. And felt like I put a lot of time and energy in whatever it was. And, you know, so...
Well, block swaps are lower risk in that.
Block swaps are lower risk.
When
Mine
like
has been finished product and been like...
And I think many of us have experienced that.
Yeah, so...
I came off of an awesome swap experience to the next time was like... very disappointing. And so then I'm like, I'm going to back away from
And
it
I've been
now.
the president of guilds where we ran them and thought, guys, please do your best work. Do, you know, whatever. And I'm like, I don't know. So that's always never been fun. But the other thing is there's a time pressure for me with that. And I just, that's hard. Like, we've got so much stuff to do right now, like that extra, because I will not do it till the night before it's due. So let's just be honest. Like, I'm not doing it till right before it's due. So I'm a bad friend.
With the...
But now when you get it, it'll be awesome. Promise. I've got a block swap I'm in right now, or a finished thing. But I know who it's going to. So I'm excited about who I'm making it for.
So the one I'm in now...
Who I think watches the show.
We kind of post at the beginning of the month, like, hey, you're the queen bee. Post the block you want in the comments, because it's via a Facebook group.
Now, do you have problems with them, like, sending you the right size?
So far, no. Everything's been fine.
Oh, good.
But I also have that book, and so I'm totally into whatever I need to do.
You
to
can
make it work. Yeah.
Chop
and
it
I
up
didn't go in with like, oh, I'm going to make, you know, this perfect quilt with da-da-da. I was like, no, I'm going to take these blocks and frame them up with... essentially an Irish chain setting using all of my 2-inch squares that are like green and white. So I knew I was going to have flexibility.
That sounds pretty. You should write a pattern out of that. That sounds nice.
Step 1, find friends. Step 2, rope them into making you quilt blocks.
Step 3, tell them exactly what you want. Make sure they can sew a 1/4-inch seam.
The point of me talking about that was... people post here's the block that I want for the month. And then it's like, okay, kind of aim for everyone to have theirs done by month end, but, grace period into the next. And if you guys need more time than that, please just post like, oh, I'm working on it. Or because lots of times we've had people move or floods or just life happens. And just an acknowledgement of like, I'm working on it. I haven't forgotten. And they've also got angels.
Oh, see,
that will like swoop in and like, ooh, I need an angel to swoop in and make this for me.
I totally needed. See,
But you can't
here's
sign up
probably
and
one of the
call on an
reasons I don't
angel.
participate in these. This is probably more than you need to know. But I was in a cross stitch guild, and we were doing some kind of, you sew a row and then you pass it on to the next one, and you sew theirs. My dad died in the middle of it, and I got 3 months behind, and they were hounding me to get it done, and I was like, so maybe that's why I don't like these things. Like, I don't want to be hounded by people not to get something done and life happens.
Yeah.
So I like the idea of angels coming in and getting it, taking care of it.
And it's also
I could have used that at that
if you see a block in a different month, or if you're an angel, or just randomly you're in the group and see the post for the month, you're like, oh, looks like a cool block to make. And you just go ahead and make one, send it in, and you're not even part of the program.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So there you go. But back to my original point. They post the thing at the beginning of the month, and usually by that night, I'm like, here's mine. It's going in the mail tomorrow, because I the 1 month that I didn't do that, I like forgot, and I'm like, oh crap, I don't think I ever made that blog. And I'd like save the instructions on my phone. I'm like, sorry, just now getting to this. So I always try to do it like as soon as we get the
I
assignment,
know.
so I don't forget
You
about
turned
it.
in your book reports.
I turned in my college or my high school senior term paper 2 weeks early.
Yeah.
I was really excited about James Thurber. He was my pupil. He
I
could
like
never
James
look through a
Thurber.
microscope without seeing his own eyelashes. Every dang time. Thank you, high school biology.
I get that, but I never do it.
That's fine.
I'm like the night before. Like, I wrote the term papers the night before. But you know what made me feel good about that thought process is I saw an interview with Lynn Manuel Miranda, who wrote, dare we say, Hamilton.
I'm out.
And he said that's how he works. He's like, I've got this song due for Disney. It was when he was writing for Moana. He's like, and it's due tomorrow. I got to finish it. As soon as we're done with this interview, I was like, I totally get that guy. Totally get that guy. I'm like, yay. And he's smart and makes good music. I can do stuff the night before. Just saying. I'm not him.
I don't have to.
And I can listen to Hamilton at the same time. Did you see someone posted in One Up Stitches that they couldn't believe I didn't make the quilt? My thoughts have been replaced with Hamilton lyrics.
Yeah, it's hanging in the Sisters Quilt show right now.
I love it. I was like, yes. Well, I guess yesterday it was hanging. It's a one-day show.
Yep.
That's I would hate. That's a lot of organization for one day. Wow. It's a lot of work, people. Props to them.
And hoping the weather's good.
Yes. No joke, yeah. Props to them for doing it. That's crazy. We had a quilt hang there last year. Not this year. So
to wrap up, don't be scared of swaps. Start
don't
with
be trauma like I
low
need to get over
stakes.
the drama.
A block.
A block.
A block.
A block. And use easy math. There you go. That's my input. Easy math.
So, are you able to cope when you end up with different size blocks? Let us know. You can leave a comment on the blog or on the YouTube episode or in our Facebook group, What's Up Stitches. That's all we have for this episode. Today's show is made possible by QT Fabrics. Learn more about their fun fabrics at qtfabrics.com.
We'd like to thank 77 Peaches and Big Think Productions for helping produce this stitch. If you've enjoyed the show, please like, share, and subscribe.
And hit the bell at the top of the YouTube thing to get the alerts when the new episode drops.
It could be up here. It could be up here.
It's somewhere up
it's
there.
It's like around bells.
Yes. Or down below. We don't know. So the next virtual stitch-in is Friday, August 10th at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern, broadcast live on our YouTube channel. Our next book club episode is August 24th. My podcast, Tip to Be a Square, is out on Fridays or Saturdays on iTunes or Google Play.
All those details and more can be found on our website, thestitchtvshow.com, along with links to purchase the Stitch TV Show merchandise. Tune in next time with more Quilting Chat with Friends. And thank you, everyone, for joining us for 3 seasons.